started, most of you know that I kind of like, maybe just a tad louder, because I'm going to start yelling at people. So I like to usually start with a little bit of humor. So Valentine's Day was, a couple weeks ago? And I went to the post office. I had a couple of letters to send off, and I noticed this guy, middle-aged, slightly balding, nice suit. He's at the counter, he must have like 1,000.
Was that me?
Yeah, well, nice suit, for sure. He had about 1,000 pink envelopes, hearts on them, love stamped on them, and he was putting his own stamps up in the corner, and then he took out a bottle of perfume and was spraying them. And I looked at him and I said, sorry, can't help but be curious, but wow, you have a lot of Valentines. And he said, oh no, he said, I'm a divorce lawyer. So, this is all about curiosity and what it does for us. And this whole month, we've been looking at curiosity as a superpower. So the whole way through this service, I'm going to interject with questions that I think you should ponder, or I have pondered. So I've been a questioner all my life, and I know that every single one of you are of the curious type, because you wouldn't be at the center if you weren't. This isn't mainstream, this isn't the norm, this isn't normal thinking, this is unique. This is for those people that continually ask the hard questions of themselves. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is the universe? What am I meant to manifest? Why can't Shifley score on a regular basis? All of these are questions that we all ponder all the time, though he does very, very well. I shouldn't have hit him. So, what's really interesting is 4-year-olds ask, how many questions do you think a day? On average.
200
at least.
Really?
200? More than 100? 500?
300.
Really?
300 questions a day. Do you know how much that drops in junior high? Drops by 75%. High school, university,
No questions.
99%. In fact, most high school students ask 2 questions. 1, can I go to the bathroom? 2, is this going to be on the test?
Yeah.
Why?
So they
Does our curiosity disappear?
No.
No. So why is it that we end up having these questions, that we go out and we question everything in our surroundings when we're little, and we ask a million questions, why is it gone in 15 years? Well, systems beat it out of us, or they create constructs. We're asking a question isn't looked upon favorably. So we have sayings like, oh, curiosity killed the cat, where we'd say to someone that asks us difficult questions, or too many questions. Or we say to kids, that's enough. Or teachers come in, and what's one thing they say? Can you please hold your questions till the end? And by then, maybe the time's run out, and they leave. And who liked the kid in the class Friday at 3:30 who started asking questions? You're like, oh, I just want to get out of here. I just want to go home. Because by that time, we've already learned that curiosity isn't a favorable virtue. But where would any one of us be if we weren't curious? So, one question. If your fingers have fingertips, why don't your toes have tips? And why can you tiptoe, but you can't tip a finger? Ponder that for the next while. So, when I was grade 7, I remember there was a riddle that went around. And believe it or not, and it might today, this riddle stumped everyone. Female, male, everybody. Nobody could get it. So it was a father and son were in a car accident. The father died. The son was rushed to emergency, and the surgeon came in, took a look at the boy, and said, I cannot operate on this boy, he is my son. Who was the surgeon?
Their mother.
Yeah. No, 96% of people in 1970 couldn't answer that question. So when we talk about things like unconscious bias, that was one. Women couldn't be surgeons. Women weren't surgeons. I use this as an example with some kids that are about 31 now. 4 of them at the table and no one got the answer. I was curious, why hasn't this changed? Why do people still not see women as surgeons after all this time? So when people say to me, I don't have an unconscious bias, I just smile. We all do. What's going to be the riddle someone's going to tell this year that you're not going to get, that in 30 years is going to be an embarrassment? You'll be like, oh, I never thought about that. But curiosity is what we want to do in these situations. We want to find out why. Why do we still think these ways? Why can't we take them apart? Why do we hold on to constructs that don't serve us at all? We all live by them. We live by patterns. What, something's a certain fashion. Why? Who chose the colors this year? They didn't phone me. I know certain Gentones. Like, we do this. We pick our cars by what somebody else tells us is cool, is beautiful, is exciting. Wow. No wonder practitioners, we always kind of giggle because we get into the situation where we try to talk to someone about their dreams, or what it's going to be like when they're healthier, or what it's going to be like when this happens. And you say, wow, you've wanted this for so long. What are you going to do when you get your new knee? And they're like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to enjoy my new knee and no hurt. But what are you going to do? Are you going to go out dancing? Are you going to climb something? What are you going to do? Or when you get that new house, what are you going to do in it? How are you going to arrange your furniture? Who are you going to invite over? What's it going to feel like? These are all what seem like pretty benign questions. People can't answer them. So how can we teach manifesting and setting an intention if you don't even know what that's going to feel like, what that's going to look like? So be curious about why you want something. When you want to set an intention, be curious. What is it that I want out of this? What is the real reason that I want this? Because that is the only way, that is the only true thing that's going to manifest. If not, you're going to get wishy-washy stuff. You're going to get little trickles, but not the enchilada, as people like to say. So, next question. Why is freight on a ship called cargo, yet freight in a car is called a shipment? Let you stir on that. So, what we've been talking about this month with curiosity is being curious about insight. Why we do things. Why we think about things. Why we resist things. I mean, it's amazing. We can put a man on the moon, but we can't. The scientists still don't understand how the brain works. What we use to do things, we know less about than what we're doing. And speaking about space, etc., it's interesting that the first Land Rover to land on Mars is called the, does anyone know?
Curiosity.
Sorry?
Curiosity?
No, Curiosity.
Curiosity.
And what's really interesting is I have a schoolmate that I went to high school with that had a big part to do with Curiosity's landing. And what's interesting, he's from Minnedosa, Manitoba, still lives there. His shop is there. And Mark in school, I can't say asked a lot of questions, but he was smart. And he certainly seemed to breathe through science better than I did. But when Mark got out, I don't believe he went to university. I think he was in plumbing. I hope I'm not wrong on this. But anyway, he liked to tinker, like a lot of farmers do. Because farmers have to fix their own equipment, and they get very self-reliant. And they get curious about how things work. And he wanted, I forget why, but he wanted to work on a camera that would take pictures very fast and low light. So incredible shutter speeds. So he went from that, and he created an infrared lens that was purchased by the Americans. And then NASA approached him, and he actually developed the cameras that helped the Curiosity land on Mars.
Cool.
And also is responsible for a lot of what we're seeing as pictures come back. None of that would have happened if he hadn't said, I wonder how, or I wonder if, or how will this look? So, next thought. You can always see your nose, but your brain ignores it. Why? So, again, looking at things that we go through life and they just seem part of life, and if we stop and think about it, it's crazy. We do crazy things. We do interesting, absurd things all the time. But that's what makes life interesting. It's that person that says, you know what, how does that work? Why does this work? Why do we always do it this way? Why is the service this way? I'd love to see this. Why couldn't we do this? So all of those things are rich. You can follow a recipe and make a beautiful cake every single week. But if you have someone come up and say, hey, why don't we add cinnamon? You got a whole other cake. If they weren't curious about how it works, one of my favorite sort of dinner topics is, does anyone know what cream of tartar is? That's about.
Cream of tartar?
Yeah.
It's not sugar from crystallizing.
Do you know what it is itself?
Oh.
No? We all use it. Anybody that's baked has used cream of tartar. It is the scrapings from the inside of a wine barrel after wine is fermented.
That's what I said.
So who in the heck goes and scrapes a wine barrel, crusty stuff, and thinks, this would be great to throw in a cake or in meringue? Isn't that just, I love that. Or the limelight. Has anybody ever wondered where that term came from? See you in the limelight? Theater term? It's because they used to use lime and light it with a reflector behind it as a spotlight in theaters. Because it was very intense, very bright, but the problem is that spotlight went out really fast too. It wasn't a long burning thing. So, and also a few theaters burnt out from use of it. But that's where that saying comes from. Break a leg. So the leg is a certain part of the theater stage. And if you crossed it, you were the star. So break a leg wasn't literally break your leg, it was, I hope you get to cross that line on stage and be the star. So these are things that people pondered, researched, and shared. Does anybody have anything that they've ever wondered? Curious about? No? I get curious about why people at a certain time of night go and knock themselves unconscious. I've thought about that a lot. That's basically what we do when we go to sleep. We get up, we go to another room, and we knock ourselves unconscious for so many, hopefully for a few hours. But isn't that funny? Like you don't even think about it, you just do it. So, why do we call it a building when it's already built? Another one thing. So, we often think that curiosity is about doing things, right? We want to find out something. We get on our phones, we look it up. Or we go to a book and we read, or we take a class, hopefully. And this is the way that we increase our knowledge. But there's also another way to increase your knowledge. And that is by being passive. That is by sitting and doing nothing. Philosophers are really good at this. They sit and they take a thought and they push it. And they push it, just like a little one. Why? Why do we have to sit at the table to eat? Well, because we enjoy being together. Why? Well, because that's what families do. Why? Why can't I watch in front of the TV set? Goes on and on. Disney's on. Why can't I watch? Why we don't question the universe more? What is visioning? Visioning is our opportunity to speak to the universe. We quiet our mind, we focus on our breathing, and we ask questions. And these questions are like, what is my purpose at this time in regards to my love life, my family, my position, the center? And we sit in silence. And we get symbols and letters and colors that all seem obscure, and we write them down. And our curiosity is what is required to figure out what the symbolism means, what the universe is trying to say to us. Because each one of us has our own unique language, symbolic language with the universe. Red means something to me, might not mean the same thing to you. Blue means something to me. A fence means something to me. All of our symbols are unique to each other. So when we're envisioning and we're getting these responses, these letters or flashes of pictures or smells or memories and body sensations, it's unique to you. But you have to be curious after. You have to sit with everything you got and say, why? Why did I get a red fence with a white horse behind it? Why did I feel like I could smell popcorn during that meditation? Why? The curiosity gives us the answers. But if you're not curious, you're just going to live the same life. You're not going to hear what the universe is trying to move through you. And that brings us to the last idea that I want to touch upon today, is this is the universe speaking through you. The universe is putting these questions in your mind to get you to expand, to get you to grow, to get you to move forward. Why can't you talk and breathe through your nose at the same time? You can't. Try it. Try saying something and breathing through your nose. Can't happen. It's like you can't sneeze and keep your eyes open. Isn't it awful? You're always driving the car. Sneeze comes on. You're trying to keep your eyes open, keep your eyes on the road. So, I don't think those are quite the things that the universe wants us to really. But thank goodness some people find those things interesting, right? I know there's a lot of people they call neurodiverse or autistic that get fascinated by particular things. They get fascinated by tsetse flies, which Kinsey was absolutely preoccupied with. Love fruit flies. Found out so much about fruit flies. I think I said tsetse, but it is the fruit fly. It's the same thing. And wrote books on the fruit fly. Who knows what the knowledge from that is going to have given somebody? Might have already. Nothing is too little. No knowledge is too little. They're looking at the poison from a pufferfish, which is a fish they love to serve as a delicacy in Japan. It's incredibly poisonous if it's not prepared in the right way. But they've also found out this poison is great for pain relief with no residue on synaptic endings, which happens with a lot of opioids. So they're studying, like, who would think? But somebody got curious. Somebody said, oh, I wonder if we could use this for something else. Bacteria. Thank goodness somebody got curious about bacteria. If it's not killing us, what can we do with it? Penicillin. Why are ants attracted to the urine of a dog that lost his pancreas? That question, that curiosity gave us insulin. So it's so amazing what curiosity can do. So what are you curious about? And if you're not, be curious about what you're not curious. Be curious why you just do things, because everyone else does them. Or that's how your parents said it should be. Be curious about why you want others to do exactly what you do. Why is that important? And really look at it. I love this quote I heard the other day where it said, I wish I could remember who it was, but they said, judgment is just not having enough information.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe instead of, why the heck is that person doing that? We should be curious. What's going on? And I think in this teaching, we lean into that heavily, where we call ourselves open at the top. We get new scientific information, we embrace it. We don't say, oh, sorry, that doesn't quite work out with what we've been teaching, so we're going to drop it, we change our teaching. We acknowledge when things have progressed and we're curious. We're terribly curious. Never let that go away. So, Neil Armstrong was the first human to step on the moon. Neil A is alien backwards. That one kind of. Why do we drive on a parkway, but we park in a driveway? If two vegans are arguing, is it still considered a beef? So, all of these, think about your questions. Think about things that can make your life richer. Challenge yourself to be curious about everything. Why is this snow happening? Why is my car running so beautifully? Why is the sun shining so gorgeously? But why does it always have to be cold for it to do it? All those beautiful things. Why do I love you? Why do the birds sing? I think I'm working into a song now. But all of these things are beautiful. If you have questions, please ask them. Show children, high schoolers, junior high, there are no dumb questions. Curiosity is going to save us. Curiosity is going to bring peace, health, joy, and love. And so it is.
Where do you get your glasses from? I gotta get new glasses.
I don't know if this is over or on. It's still on. And then it's not going off.